Is an EMP an actually viable method of enemy attack with today's technology? Yes, absolutely. You can knock out enemies' navigation systems and basically all electronics which everything runs on these days. Many military vehicles have older technologies in them to avoid becoming inoperable from an electromagnetic pulse. Read 1 second after, or tell him to. My understanding is that the detonation of a nuclear weapon at a certain altitude would result in an EMP attack. A detonation of a nuclear weapon several miles above ground would do it. If it's an enemy attack, they could do it, but it uses nukes and the EMP would be the least of our problems. But a coronal mass ejection, https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/coronal_mass_ejection could also cause similar problems. It's hard to say how much the cost would be since that depends on the size of the CME. My father worked for a company that built inertial guidance systems for the Air Force. They were working on a system that would sense the EMP, write the current navigation information to protected storage, wait a little while, then reload it. Hopefully before the plane fell out of the sky. Not an insignificant amount. It's not unrecoverable, but it's a major inconvenience. And will cause cascading problems, so you'll never be just dealing with the electronics are down. The real threat is the sun, and even then it would be temporary. Unfortunately, humanity would come apart at the seams within hours and cause the real damage. Cyber attacks are much more effective and less consequential for the attacker due to hiding in the electronic fray. Yeah, you can kinda guess where things come from since all data flows over the pots, but pinpointing and gathering enough evidence is difficult. DDoS is the new EMP, and if executed correctly, can be damaging without actually damaging things. However, there are malicious codes, like Stuxnet, that deliberately destroy things, and that is what your pops should worry about. 10-15 lines of code that just relentlessly fuck your shit up. An EMP big enough to significantly impact a country's infrastructure would be extremely hard to pull off. With current and projected future technology, most EMPs are very, very short range. So unless an enemy was able to put EMPs next to power plants, water treatment plants, etc., it's not gonna do much. At that point, it would be far, far easier to just bomb them to destroy them. People could have done this for decades, and no one really has. So, I wouldn't worry. You live on a 12-mile thick bit of the Earth's crust, floating over a sea of magma on a planet that is going around the sun at speed of 67,000 miles per hour, and you are worried about an EMP? No known weapon on Earth has the juice to do this. Current concern is EMP weapons that would be capable of disabling satellites, which, while super shitty, would hardly be a world-ending event. Everyone under 30 would kill themselves 5 minutes after it went off. No. I watched a documentary that described this in detail, and it's a very big risk. It's called Ocean's 11 if anyone would like to be educated. They're mostly science fiction. They do exist, but they're not that powerful. The most powerful source of EMP is a nuclear bomb. The nuke could also just explode on ground instead of in space for EMP. A nuclear EMP could do real damage. But it's a fucking nuke. It's not viable due to the political consequences. Non-nuclear EMP are much less powerful. A bomb can achieve the same results. You're using explosives anyway, why make it complicated with EMP when you can just blast it? He should be much more concerned about the possibility of the sun throwing a tantrum than another country trying to EMP another. A country would need incredible resources to pull it off and would instantaneously be on every other country's shit list, assuming they even manage to get far enough through the plan for the EMP weapon to fire detonate. Moreover, at best they could maybe knock out a major metropolitan area, a state or two if they metaphorically rolled a bunch of nat 20s. Destabilizing sure, but not ending society-level doom. The sun, however, is just one bad day away from just shooting out enough cosmic energy to wipe out all the electronics in one side of the planet, or more if it felt inclined to. Sure, we could theoretically get that fixed, but knowing what we know about humans, how well do you think that would go? Yes. A high-altitude nuclear detonation. See https://youtu.be/n_w9qjtbw08 question C equals gixdyn0n8i3dc2xu. There's a study out there that says if the US was hit by an EMP, something like 90% of the population would be dead in 6-8 months.